John, so many Canadians use the word freedom. Freedom is a beautiful word and a wonderful word, and we have many freedoms in Canada. And there have been many Canadians during this time of COVID who feel perhaps some of their freedoms and liberties have been sidelined or relegated. And when we're discussing in this beautiful conversation about the multi-century history in achieving these freedoms and why that was so important, how do we, given the current climate, how do we help Canadians understand the importance of freedom and how to never give up on that?
It's certainly a challenge, and I think it always has been. It's good to remember that this has never been an easy thing to do. But I think we want to remember that the national anthem calls us the true north, strong and free. We want to remember Wilfrid Laurier saying Canada is free and freedom is its nationality. We want to understand how critical a part of the founding self-understanding of Canada it was. And, again, we want to commemorate wars, not start them on this occasion. But one thing about the truckers' convoy protest that was interesting is that they made the Canadian flag a symbol of freedom, not just in Canada, but around the world. This was an extraordinary and I think very positive thing. I know there are arguments on both sides, and I know some people feel very strongly that there was a threat of anarchy. But I also know a lot of people feel it's amazing how we acquiesce in governments closing places of worship and imposing all kinds of restrictions on us, including, they talked about your body, your choice, blah, blah, blah. And then suddenly it turned out that wasn't really true.
Mm.
Uh, but one of the things that did maybe we can unite around is this idea that Canadians should be free and that freedom carries with it responsibility. So it's not license, it's not anarchy. But let us remember that the Canadian flag is a symbol of freedom. And perhaps wind up by remembering for how many Dutch people it was the arrival of the maple leaf and the old flag, let's not forget, that meant the Nazi tyranny had ended and they were again free. And this is such a stirring part of Canada's history. If we tell people, and it doesn't matter where your ancestors are from or where you came from if you've chosen Canada, this is your story now. And this is a story to bring tears to your eyes. It is so thrilling. It is so exciting. And it's your story. And you are now on stage and you have a part to play. And this is something to be grateful for and to celebrate.
So with the Remembrance Day celebrations just here, how how can we encourage our younger generations to? I'm a mother, I have 5 children. I'm always trying my very best to help them understand history, at a level they can relate to. What is the best way to get the younger generation to not banalize this very important day?
I think for the very youngest people, and moving on, probably well into their teens, it's personal memoirs. The stories of people and the things they did. I mean, the Diary of Anne Frank, of course. There's a book it's called Angel House, something about these girls who were hidden by Catholic nuns in Eastern Europe. And then you think it's just too good to be true. And at the end, the author says, and that was my aunt. And now, she moved to Canada. The George Blackburn's memoirs of being a soldier in the Second World War, getting people to feel the adventure in that firsthand kind of way, and later they can appreciate it in more abstract manner. But it's again reading the memoirs of soldiers, and again this the good humor with which they faced the terror is one of the
Yes.
things that I think is just remarkable to see. And then you start to, in your head, you imagine yourself facing danger, not just with fortitude, but with a smile or even a smirk. Uh, these kinds of stories about kind of going through flak and holes in the wings, and then one of the men on the plane commented to another, "I say, I think you've bent the airplane." Uh, who among us doesn't dream of getting off a line like that as smoke billows through the cockpit? Um, and there are so many amazing stories. Again, there's one that of a Polish fighter who'd gotten out of Poland and become an RAF pilot, and he was shot down over the channel. Didn't know if he was in England or France, but he landed in his parachute. And then he saw these guys kind of weaving toward him like they were drunk. He started going toward them, and they fired a shotgun at him. Ah! And then he waited, and they got closer. He stepped again, another shotgun blast. Finally got close enough, and he shouted in broken, accented English, which doesn't sound good, right? He's telling you in German. He says, "No, Polish, RAF." And the guy goes, "Yeah, I know that, mate. Sorry about shooting at you, but you're standing in a minefield. I had to get you to keep still."
Oh my
There's so
goodness.
much magic in this of what people did under these terrible circumstances and finding light in the darkness. There is so much that should excite young people. This
Yes.
is a truer history than the most fantastic story, and yet it's also more interesting. I mean, it's This is a wonderful heritage. We have something exciting for them, and I think we should present it to them with pride and with enthusiasm.
Absolutely. John, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much for your insights today.
And my pleasure.
And with that, happy Remembrance Day.